everyone, this is the last video of the RO-Scale Rails of Unionville. So, this is gonna be my last time here, but we definitely not going like anywhere for it was. I may not able to drive trains because we are going to take a little tour of this entire map of Rails of Unionville. So, let's give ourselves a tour for just a little bit right now. And we're starting here in the Unionville tram station. You can drive trams around here for like anything for themselves. I may not able to drive for some trams like anything, but really something like this. So it leads into some kind of a local station around here and a local farms like oranges and other kinds of stuff. So I may not absolutely going to be worried about here because definitely that leads into the Unionville Central Station. So this is where it was. This is going to be for something like anything about this one. So that must be for the end gauge or something like that. Even though this is actually for some sort of like the stops like these. So this is the diesel spawner where you can spawn any diesel trains in order to make freight trains around here for somewhere. You should go into the freight yard and spawn some freights because only one of these cars that can spawn and make a longer freight train whatsoever if you can. This is the downtown Unionville, and this is where you can absolutely drive trains around here as of trams and like anything around here to do so. And this is absolutely right to the end as well. It could be for a looping things like this or some kind of a loop circle, of course. There must be not the little station. And that must be for the railroad tracks, like everywhere it does. It's filled with crossover cartoon vehicles, like everywhere it does as well. Cartoon houses everywhere in Unionville, even though this is absolutely a ton of stuff and many more some kind of like this stations, of course. And this is absolutely another rail yard as well. This may not able to spawn some trains, no spawners whatsoever, and especially not like anything else. But even though there must be so many things to find a little bit for somewhere as well that leads into the tramway, which I eventually am not pretty sure that you're not able to be recommended to drive onto the something as well on the trail or the tram lane. Even though this is absolutely being looped around here as well, you could have fun for as little bit as possible, like the racetrack. That must be for some kind of cab over trucks heading towards into the city. But even though that must be for some kind of a lumber cabin or something as well. So that must be for a lumber ways or some sort of like this. And this is the museum trains. Or absolutely like the Polar Express or something like for the legacy trains that should live on. And this is the big boy locomotive that cost for game passes. We definitely try not to head over to do this as well. And next, of course, we are absolutely heading into the steam spawn. This is the excursion spawn where you can spawn like anything it was, like the full consist about for the birthday trains. And here is absolutely for the passenger train spawn. You can spawn any passenger trains like anything it does. And especially this is the steam spawner as well. And yes, it's full of trains around here like this. It's full of steam locomotives around here, including the rest of something like this. But also, there must be for a Game Pass locomotives like this, but you cannot actually click on the links as well. So this absolutely cost for 5 Robux to purchase the event locomotives. But even more, even not some kind of a lumberjacks like this. So this is absolutely the holy grain, or some sort of like this. This is the narrow gauge train spawn, where you can spawn all the way it does around here in the track. But this track could lead into Unionville Central Station. I have already seen this station at once, that we definitely seeing a little bit as possible, but definitely needs more roofings as well before it rains around here for something unreliable or something unknown. And I wouldn't actually going to be telling you something about that. So, however, this leads around here into the railroad crossings a little bit. So, here is the railroad intersection as this one. Currently, there aren't switchers around here with this thing as well that causes a little bit derailization of this thing as well. The narrow gauge could lead us to even longer as well as possible. But even though this is absolutely taking a little bit longer as well. So this is where we headed out to Southern Unionville Station. But one thing is absolutely going to be to do this. Do not actually going to get inside unless you're an admin around here for this one. So this is the admin's place around here, the admin spawners or something like this. You may not actually getting inside around here, but this is where in the previous video that the train ended up being stuck on this way as well. And next one is the full consist area. We're definitely pretty sure that this is the full consist area that is, which means you can spawn absolutely longer passenger trains or something like that, even more as well, for something like this. Then we headed out to the intersection around here to get all over to do this as well, and headed to the high-speed rails that we definitely pretty sure that we headed already to do this as well. And so I have eventually arrived in this Unionville city. With anything around here with the steam trains as well, it's not gonna be the old self like these, or probably whatsoever. And this is the Polar Express spawner, but I'm not pretty sure. Not this train as well, because sometimes this train isn't pretty spawnable, but I'm not pretty sure. This is the Polar Express trains, a little bit for one of those things as well. These are the coaches and the tender as well. This is a Unionville workshop where the trains have been built on within for diesels and steam. Alright, we made it over here. Nothing just like Las Vegas, but this is absolutely the Unionville Union Station, where I end up this video when they have been arrived at this big station of this one. And especially, there must be a longer yard for small freight trains or something. And this track of like this is the turnaround loop. The turnaround loop is actually going to be important to head things a little bit back for something as well. And another rail line could lead to the bridges, which is exactly how faster is going to be something a little bit anyway. So first off, I'm a little bit sleepy. before I go to bed around here for this well. So, I better head it out what is going to be next around here. Especially one of those traffical roads, or whenever it does that I just eventually going to say around here for this. Long tracks are important to me, and it's absolutely way fast a little bit for just like this. There is the Unionville Central Station over here, right next into that town nearby. And I absolutely run as fast as possible. And I wouldn't actually going to be saying a little bit anyway. But now, this won't be actually going to be looking around here for this. But this is where in the first couple of videos, or I'm probably sure, this is where the first couple of moments that we're running for just another way for the AWVR consist as well. So this is the full consist spawn of freight trains, but only one has absolutely exist about the AWVR consist spawn. This is where I use of this thing in the previous video, while I'll barely using one of the BNSF locomotives, and so much more around here for like this. As the locomotives is absolutely being arriving at this some kind of the rail yard, which means that the freight trains could actually spawn like the full consist of freight trains like this whatsoever. So this is where I pulled it all the way out of the town, and we directly headed all the way to south. But this is where it's actually going back into the oval course, but looks like we're gonna be headed somewhere over here on this next couple of miles. We then actually going to reach all the way down into the south station. It's right over here into the next one, but we probably sure I have turned on the mouse cruiser back on when I definitely absolutely turned on the mouse cruiser anyways. So even though there must be more rails around here for somewhere else, so looks like this is absolutely where it leads to the south station. So you can teleport whenever you want, and whatever this is actually going to be taking for a very long time. Especially I felt so bored around here and being arrived at the Unionville South Station. So, this definitely taking for a little bit long time when I absolutely rolled on for around here for one train. 2 years ago, I using for this old-fashioned locomotive around here, making its way to the Unionville South Station, which is definitely being arrived at this point for something like this. So, this is the South Unionville Station, and this is where I have been arrived here 2 years ago. It was definitely seeing this when I actually never saw whatever that I just remember and around here for this one. So before I'll leave Unionville for around here, or leaving just for a little bit of one, it may absolutely gonna be taking around here for a long time, but I feel a little bit weird around here for just like anyways. But there is more of the expansion of the narrow gauge rails, like anything around here as well. And also there must be a standard gauge around here, so it will be taking for a little bit of a long time to get there as well. And that leads on to the admin spawn. Ah, thank God, that wasn't going to be taking a little bit as much as well. I may soon that we're going to be taking us back to where I started around here. Let's get back to Unionville, like the actual town of this thing, whatever what I just absolutely going to say. So, right, this couldn't actually going to be taking a little bit as much as we can. And looks like we're back in Unionville before we're gonna end up this video. So before I'm going to end of this video, let's just teleport like anything around here. Any available around here is actually going to be for a full constant spawn like this. This is where I just spawned for one of the passenger trains, but it was being overcrowded by some other kinds of idiotic players. Now the steam spawn is where you can spawn any trains as steam locomotives for passenger trains. Another one is rail yard. You can spawn any freight trains like boxcars, gondolas, tank cars, and even hoppers like anything around here for the grail or the grain of these things as well. This includes canter beams or something like even more freight cars like here to do so. So this is the main town. This is Central Station, the Unionville Union Station, and finally the South Station, where I just arrived around here for this way. You can change actually for some kind of like this anyway. You can change size like anywhere if you want, and front of view around here you can read any rules around here if you're probably going to be trying to do this as well. You can turn off the trees, which is absolutely pretty faster around here. If you could turn on the trees, which is not actually recommended around here for this time, because this is definitely a bad idea. As you can see around here for the update log, that everything is absolutely being fixed around here, including on the bridge around here between those switchers. Thankfully, I may absolutely going to end up this video for something as well. For the one last time, I'm just actually, so I'm not probably going to be trying to do this as anyways. For the one last time, it was going to be for last 13 days before age estimation could absolutely impacted me and everyone from all over the world within usernames and Roblox platforms everywhere to do so. And don't forget, the link is going to be in the description below that you can check it out of this game and leave a like, and probably to do this as you may able to follow this game or just favor it around here, just like in the previous video. So anyways, I'll talk to you around here next time around here, and this is TC is signing off. Thanks for watching around here, and this could be for my final goodbye of this game. So thanks again, and have a nice New Year's evening as well. So tomorrow is New Year for around here, but thankfully it was definitely New Year's Eve.